The third key operation strategy is supply chain management, and specifically looking at the key areas of supply chain management and breaking it down with respect to logistics, e-commerce, and global sourcing. Firstly, though, what is supply chain management? Well, that involves integrating and managing the flow of suppliers through the inputs, the transformation process, and outputs in order to best meet the needs of the customer. So ensuring that the suppliers that are required to build to come up with a particular product, that those suppliers are managed appropriately and it best meets the needs of the customer. Suppliers need to be found that can provide the most appropriate inputs at the best price and reliably supply the quantity with the appropriate quality. So all businesses, particularly those that manufacture a product, are very reliant on suppliers. Think of a motor car manufacturer, for example. All the suppliers they would need, the supply of the tyres, the supply of the windscreen wipers, the supply of the door handles, the windscreens, the bonnet, the paint, etc. All those suppliers, they need to pull them together so that the motor vehicle can be manufactured. Coca-Cola is the same. They start with a small plastic, what do they call it? Basically a little test tube almost, and that's at the start of the bottle. But then they need supplies of the label, supplies of the ingredients. And it's supply chain management is managing all of those suppliers, ensuring that they can produce the product in the quantity that is needed, at the quality that is needed, at the best price, and with reliability. Three aspects of supply relate to sourcing / global sourcing, e-commerce, and logistics. So coming back to the three key points there in the syllabus: logistics, e-commerce, and global sourcing. So it's really important that businesses know the lead time involved for each supplier. So we touched on lead time in class last week. A lead time is the time it takes for a supplier to provide its customers with the goods that it orders. So if Coca-Cola says to its sugar supplier, for example, what's the lead time on 1,000 kilos of sugar, and they say it's 4 days, that might be great for Coca-Cola, but that might also be terrible because they might need it. They might need it tomorrow. So that if the lead time is 4 days, but they actually need it in one, then Coca-Cola might have a problem in terms of that particular supply chain. The shorter the lead time, the more flexible the purchasing becomes, because it allows them to be able to adapt in production. So, hang on, we need 1,000 kilos of sugar tomorrow. This sugar supplier can provide it in a day. So that gives us a lot more flexibility in our manufacturing process. So first element of supply chain being sourcing, sometimes known as procurement. That's where are the inputs actually going to come from? So the purchase of the inputs for the transformation process. So the sources or inputs are generally drawn from a whole range of suppliers. So some might come from overseas, some might come domestically, and we'll have a look at McDonald's supply chain in class. Some of the factors that might influence sourcing could be things like consumer demand. So you need the sugar Coca-Cola needs the sugar from CSR, for example, a big sugar company, but who else is CSR supplying that might have an impact on the amount that they can supply to Coca-Cola? The quality of the inputs, so what level of sugar, for example, does the Coca-Cola need? How flexible are you in respect to when that sugar is delivered and the timeliness of that particular supplier, and ultimately what's the cost? In terms of, that's talking about sourcing generally, but what about global sourcing? That refers to businesses purchasing supplies or services without being constrained by location. So globalization has allowed global sourcing to occur. Again, Coca-Cola, they need their sugar. They could get it from any corner of the globe. They could go to Brazil if Brazil provides the best sugar because of there's little constrained by location. In supply chain management, global sourcing means buying or sourcing from wherever the suppliers best meet the needs of the company. In terms of e-commerce, with relevance to supply chain management, e-commerce really is involving the buying of inputs via the internet. So many businesses have their supply chain managed through electronic ordering or e-procurement. Online or electronic stock management systems can detect when stock is low and send an automatic order to that particular supplier. And that's called business-to-business e-commerce. And online shopping from consumers, i.e. business to consumer, can reduce costs of intermediaries, and it also can reduce the complexity of your supply chain and the cost involved in running or managing your supply chain. In terms of logistics, that's really distribution, but it includes things like transport, so transport of the supplies to the manufacturer, the use of storage or warehousing and distribution centers in that whole supply chain, materials handling and packaging, again, during the supply chain process. And it's a part of supply chain that focuses on moving the inputs, the resources and the outputs through the supply chain as quickly as possible, saving as much time at each point in the supply chain as possible, which ultimately means you can get the product to the consumer faster and probably at a lower cost. The goal is to achieve an efficient, steady flow of material through the supply chain. Okay, and we'll stop there.